This podcast is sponsored by the Wren Bar, the top venue for your team's events, parties or barbecues. Message the Wren Bar on social media to book in your team.
So we're here for our final edition of the Power Rankings across the senior and intermediate championships, and we're just going to look back at the finals with that too. Over the weekend, a big congratulations to St. Thomas's, 6 in a row, unbelievable achievement. Mullagh got over the line finally against the Haskell Fona, two epic battles there, and Ballindereen surprised us all by beating Teen Everton tonight. I was getting a lot of texts over the weekend from Ballindereen players and management just letting us know about their year as well. So congratulations to them. They enter Connacht. But Jeff, obviously, if we start off with the senior over the weekend, St. Thomas's complete a 6 in a row. And it was a question that was being asked among people after the game. For you now, do they go down as the greatest Galway club hurling team?
Okay, none of us wouldn't. Not many of us have seen the Turlough team in the 60s or the Castlegar team in the 30s. So, yeah, look, you'd have to say the way they did it the last day, especially like coming down the home straight, where they got key scores. The goal. First one was a brilliant goal by Aina. The second goal, the rob by Conor Cooney, and the finish by Aina. And these two scores before that, we're up there with anything that was done over the last couple of years. And look, you have to give hats off to them in terms of what they've done. It's a remarkable achievement. And I suppose the question is, I'd say their thoughts already once they get over celebrating this week and focus on an All-Ireland semi-final is put in really good step at the All-Ireland series the next couple of months.
For you, what is it that's kept their hunger, their drive and everything going to complete this 6 in a row?
I'd say their internal leadership group. You're looking at the makeup of all the players there. Like they all give something, they all bring something special to the fold. Like typical Dara Burke, you're wondering, is he going to show some form? He always turns up to county finals, got the first two scores of the game. Like people are saying Conor had a poor game, but he had an awful lot of influence in the first half there. In terms of his positioning, going deep. I think he picked up 3-4 balls, or two, especially around the D, one inside the 45, one key puck out, set up the goal, one freeze. I know he didn't convert two of them, but his influence was still huge. Their full backline, Finton lauded it as a keen Manny. Shane Cooney, you can see being a 6 for Galway next year, definitely. John Head had a fine game. James Regan, kind of untold stuff that you don't see, the hidden stuff. Like in every line in the pitch, they had performances. Like there was, like you're looking at standout players and the marquee players, but like I thought Evan Duggan got through an awful lot of work. Carl Burke was probably in a bit of bother on Sean O'Hanlon, but he stuck to the task. Oisin Flannery got a key point on the turnover and Dan Loftus in the second half. And their inside line then, look, Aina, pound for pound, up there, one of the top forwards in club hurling over the last 3-4 years. I think he's 217 or 317 in the county finals over the last couple of years. So look, yeah.
All from play as well.
Yeah, all from play. Look, hearty congratulations to them. But you'd like to them go on now and push on. Munster, Clonmacnoise played Ballygunner at the weekend. So like Ballygunner obviously favourites at present, bookies' favourite. But I think Thomas wants to get over this week and they're back training in 2 weeks' time. They'll kind of say to themselves, they're 2 steps away from being club champions.
Isn't that the thing now? You even heard Finton speaking after the game, and he was just saying he wants to have this occasion where Thomases have all their players for a game. And you're thinking now, David's obviously came back, he's played the last 2 games, 5 minutes each on both occasions, but he's going to train well now over the next while and going to be forcing his way back into this team for an All-Ireland semi. But this All-Ireland semi, whoever they do face out of Munster, it's the first time they're going to really have a full team in quite a while.
Yeah, I think it's a 6 weeks, Paul, before they play their semi-final. So They'll be able to kind of, recharge the batteries mentally and physically over the next 2 weeks, because the county final would have taken it off of them. So a huge high and build it back up again. So I'd say, look, kind of to have everything planned out over the next 6 weeks, probably 2.5, 3 week block of work, and then you're tapering the last week, probably have 2 games played in between that. So like it'll be interesting to see who comes out of Munster. You'd have to fancy Ballygunner, obviously. And their system of play, a lot of teams find it very difficult because of how they use the ball, their puck strategy, the pace of their inside forwards. They don't waste ball, and they're seamless in what to do. But like as I'd say, with the lads now present, the county is done for them now, and they'll probably be hurting what happened last year and the year before as well, and they'll definitely want to put a push, make it an imprint on that semi-final, and give themselves a huge chance if they get over it.
So just on the game as a whole, first half, Thomas has got off to a really good start, 4 points to no score after 10 minutes. In his first goal then comes after 14 minutes, 1-4 to a point, and they looked in pole position there. You definitely had your worries about Turlough after 14 minutes.
Yeah, look, I was looking at it in terms of Turlough building play for the first 9, and they couldn't because of the pressure they were being under by the Thomas's defence in middle third. There was a huge amount of turnovers in the first 9-10 minutes. They didn't earn a free. I think it was the 10th or 11th minute. I think Connor put the first free wide, scored the second one. Darwatch's first puck out, it was turned over. So there was a wrestling match going on for the first quarter, and being Thomas's were using all their experience and nous to make sure they gained the foothold in the game and got a lead. But Connor's 2 big plays, from the puck out that he won, I think he fed it back. Was it to Demi Finnerty? Fed it back to Demi Finnerty. You put the ball in for Aina, and Aina touched it down beautifully and struck it off his left. That was a huge play. Connor had no right to win it. It was a 3-on-1 that went down the 6th channel, and he won a ball that he shouldn't have won, and created the goal from it. In fairness to Turlough, they did weather that storm, came back at them, and before half time, they started using the ball better, running at them, working it through the lines, working as the player in the best position, and I think they chalked off 4 scores on the bounce. But the flip side of that, when it came down to the home stretch, when they did what they did before half time, when it was going down to the last couple of minutes, Sean Lan had a chance going down the sideline, should have given it side to Sean O'Hanlon. Dahi had a free. Like you're given a ball, you have to do something with it. With 2 minutes to go, straight down the middle to Shane Cooney from that to get. Then he gets his first score. Next ball after that, Lofty gets it, should have popped it back to Sean Hanlon. Gets blocked down, turnover, leads to the second point. So when Turlough analyse the game and they look at it, especially going down the home stretch and their game management and their in-game knowledge, they won't be happy with that facet of the game.
A couple of people will say from Turlough, though, that Aina Burke was fortunate to stay on the pitch.
Yeah, possibly, but Conor Cooney's goal, you could argue, could have stood as well.
Yeah.
Like Dahi hit Ronan down top of the head. In fairness to Liam Gordon, he blew the whistle fairly early. But the next score that was got from the indirect free, that shouldn't have happened either. Like Shane Cooney was free, for a good 20-30 seconds, and you're kind of going, you could spot it a mile away what was going on. In fairness to Conor, he picked the ball and he caught it and put it back down again. But whoever was up top, inside forwards, they had to close him off, and Turlough had to have an extra man also because Conor was taking the free. So there was somebody standing marking space as opposed to marking somebody. And that was a key score again got to wrestle momentum in the second half.
Just with Turlough, your reference there, started slow. Manzo adds 2 points on the 23rd minute, puts them 1-6 to 4 ahead. But then Turlough hit the next 4, 1-6 to 8. Did halftime just come at a terrible time for Turlough there?
The second half, and they got the first two scores. But you're up against a formidable outfit, Paul, in terms of like if every line on the pitch, every matchup, every part of your game in terms of puckouts, distribution, your work rate, your score execution, your decision making, Thomas are champions because every part of any county final they've been in, when questions have been asked, they've found a way. And that's why they've 6 in a row. And that's why there probably will be 7 in a row next year. If the hunger's still there, and I'd say it will be with these lads, you know, they'll be back in the county final again next year, unless they get a raft of injuries. But they probably have got to a stage now where they're able to kind of deal with the setbacks that they've encountered. And Finton's probably right. It would be a great day for Galway if they get to a semi. They're in the semi-final, that they have a full strength team, and they can go at and appears to a Clonlara or a Ballygunner. But they always find a way because the big players step up with key plays at key times.
Was it just with that, with Turlough, when you think of the chances later on in the second half? I think there's 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know Sean Loftus has one which kind of went a bit way out. Then he gets blocked down. Sean O'Hanlon had one coming in on the left, or when he turned back on his left and the edge, kind of further out from the edge.
There was 5. There was 5, Paul. There's 5 in total.
Is that it ultimately?
If they look back and if they create a 5 scoring chances and they converted 0, you need to be converting 64-65% of them. And then the county final stage against St. Thomas, you probably need to score probably 72-73% of them. Like the other part of it then that they probably wouldn't be happy about is the ball that was going into the inside line, hitting high ball down on top of Finton and Keane Manny. It's a no-no for me anyhow. If you want to exploit the Thomas's full back line, you got to be putting the ball into space, and your inside line moving at angles. That's the only way you catch out any inside line. But if you're hitting straight ball that's high down on top of them lads, they're not moving, and their forte is catching high ball. So I was kind of surprised with that they had to gamble then by pushing Dahi up. He brought a different fervour and energy to it, but then they were left wide open on the far side. And Whelan was unlucky. Conor Whelan came in, robbed his pocket, popped it to in, and the finish was superb. Just right onto the crossbar.
I take it from a management perspective there, with your manager's hat on. When you see Conor Cooney steal the ball off Whelan and then just play it to Aina, and Aina produces the finish like that, you just have to be delighted when something like that comes off.
Yeah, but you need special players. And it doesn't matter how good of a coach or manager you are, you need good players to be able to carry out and lead the team. And like Kenneth has done a huge amount of work over the last 3 years with the lads. And look, it's a pressure cooker situation for him because it's his club. He's got his brothers. He has to deal with his brothers, probably deal with them in terms of trying to give the feedback and trying to keep them happy. And I say there's probably this constant conversation in the Burke household, and there's no switch off. But there's no better man than Kenneth David to handle all that. But yeah, look, when something like that happens and the score, you do get probably a sense of euphoria and say, right, yeah, we're there. But you don't relax until the team captain gets his hands on the cup. And even at that stage, Turlough went up. Conor Welch's chance was just after that, and then Dahi scores a free. But sure, the time was up at that stage.
The goal was a soccer point there. They had it 112-13. Then Dahi obviously gets that goal as 212 to 113. Liam Gordon blows straight after. Just on Turlough, it was a huge year really when you consider Darren O'Shaughnessy, Brian Holland's first year. They turned over Loughrea where they weren't expected to get to a final, but they've came up short against Thomas's again, similar to 2020. As a whole, for you, is this a missed opportunity or is it a really positive year for Turlough?
But the lads will be probably disappointed. Well, not probably, will be disappointed with the last couple of minutes. But I think all in all, from where they were for the last 2 years to where they are now, The lads have done a really good job in terms of getting the team back into a county final. Um, the probably key for them is to work out their best inside line. Them lads will improve. Town Quirk will improve. Phelan has played a year now of championship in Galway. Whelan went back, Mark and Enid Burke did a good job for most of the game. And then just got caught with 1-2 at the end. Sean Loftus will be back, next year as well. He'll help them out. Look, it's the key line in any team, Paul, is your inside line. If you have natural finishers in there, you're going to go a long way in the championship. And I suppose the big thing for them is probably just work on the type of ball that they're putting into the inside line and working on them lads in terms of S&C. I suppose the game management side of it, that only comes when you get to county finals and we experience it. And you experience it and you learn from it and put yourself back into a position then again next year where you're back in a final again. And obviously if them scores are created, that you convert. And that's the key part with Thomas's. They'll always work the ball to the player that's in the best position that's going to convert. And if you look at the ball that Dana Burke got the last couple of minutes compared to the Turlough inside line, the ball was put in front of him. They worked the ball to the distribution zone between 45 and 65. He got ball put right in front of him, 1 bounce or 2 bounce. But the Turlough didn't do that. It was straight high ball in top of Fintan Burke.
Just with Thomas, as you mentioned Shane Cooney and how he could be pivotal to Galway. Is Shane Cooney now someone you have to look at playing a 6, similar to the way Declan Hannon plays for Limerick?
Yeah, look, definitely. The modern 6 is someone can distribute the ball really well, can tackle, track back, break the line, read the play. And Shane Cooney, who's been 15, 16 years of age, can do all them things. He's just been unfortunate with horrific injury that he suffered up in Dangan 2.5 years ago. But look, Henry looking at him would probably say, he's going to have to probably try something different at 6 next year and start loading a few lads in, because the age profile of the team, you're looking at a lot of lads 30 plus now. And it's an important year next year for the Galway seniors also. But Shane is definitely someone, Keen Manny possibly in at 28. For me, I'd still be looking at him.
You'd have Aina in the Galway panel for 2024.
Tell me who's better than him over the last 3-4 years. And just look at his stats. There's different roles for different players. Aina the last 10-12 minutes, when defences are tiring, you can match him up on somebody. Like obviously up against a Sean Finn or someone like that. No, but you could match him up with somebody and say, right, go in there for 10 or 15 minutes. He's guaranteed to snipe a score for you or 2. And that's something that we're probably lacking.
Just then on Thomas's finish, All-Ireland semi-final coming up now against the Munster champions, a few weeks of a break. Can St. Thomas's win the Club All-Ireland this year for you?
Well, Ali Hale gone. Lachlan Gales, I've only seen the highlights of the game. If Thomas's get over whoever to play in the semi-final, I'd give them a huge chance. I think they're 9-2. They're a good price. They're a really good price. Especially with David, will be back in 6 weeks' time. He'll probably be well able to start the game at that stage. He's done unbelievably well to get back in the time frame that he's got back. So I'd say another 6 weeks of work for him. It'll bring him another bit, probably not 60 minutes yet, probably 35, 40 are coming on a bit earlier. But yeah, I'd give them a right good chance.
Yeah, this year really feels like a huge opportunity for them. I was even interested David talking after saying he was roaring at Kenneth to get him on earlier, which was interesting to hear. But if you congratulations, Thomas's 6 in a row, unbelievable achievement. Turlough just come up short. Just to finish, since it's the last edition of the Power Rankings, In senior hurling, Jeff, we didn't really seem to get too much wrong. It kind of went as planned, really.
Oh, and if you didn't have me here and put someone else in, you'd probably come up with the same, probably top four anyhow. We didn't get that wrong. The big surprise was the semi-final, the Turloughmore game. Nobody's seen that really. But all in all, like you look back on it and the games that were played, like that game was really intense, but it was enjoyable on Sunday.
Do you see it as a good senior championship?
But they were all tight games. Like Sarsfields came back at St Thomas's. Like the 2 goal chances they got at the end, they'll be looking at it as well next year in a positive light. Loughrea have a winter of kind of a lot of reflecting on to see where they go. After that, then who's coming after that? Really, Paul. Out to the top four. Clarenbridge would probably have to realise that the boys that have went away on holidays and stuff is going to have to stay around next year if David Ford's going to get a proper go at this, because you can't do it. You can't make up the ground if lads are gone for 2 or 3 months. And if Clarenbridge get their act together next year, in terms of commitment from all the panelists, and they're all focused and they all get the work done consistently through the whole year, you say, yeah, they could be back in it again. But yeah, look, all in all, yeah, I enjoyed it from standing back and just watching, not having to be with anybody or looking at the cold face of it. It's when you're looking at it from the point of view as a I suppose a hurling supporter or analyst, it's far more enjoyable than being in there in the cold face of it.
The club came calling in 2024. Would it interest you?
No. I have enough now at the college that'll keep me going to end of February, hopefully. I'm busy in college at present, so I have enough to do with work in college, and I'll take my time and see where it brings me.
Good. And just the senior B hurling final over the weekend. Mullagh 17 points, a hash for throwing and 113.
Yeah, I watched it today. It was 10 points to 1 after 22 minutes. And you're going, what's going on here? But look, Mullagh's direct style, I think Haskell lost their way completely. The first 20 minutes especially. And Mullagh still had 6 wides after 21 minutes. But like the inside line again, Davy got 3 from play. Dolphin, you're kind of looking at Mullagh and saying, where they came from last year to now and the hard work they put in over the winter months. I'm told that they employed an S&C coach there after the championship was signed last year, and they went after it and they made sure that the gap that was there in terms of fitness, strength and conditioning was bridged, and they did that, and they got their just rewards. But Haskell had a chance at the end. Park had a great chance doubling the ball. It just finished wide, and they'll be probably disappointed really by losing by a point. But all in all, Mullagh look, we're deserving champions.
Really interesting to hear Ronan talk on Galway Bay after the game when he was asked what did the management do this year to instill into Mullagh, and he just said before this we probably had a weak mindset. Like, it was extreme honesty from him.
You only build confidence and build that mental resolve if the team buy in collectively as a group to what the management are doing. There's no secret recipe with any of this. There's a reason why Thomas's are county champions year in, year out, because the team train collectively together and the players keep everybody in line. The management are there to facilitate, and it's a collective. It's a collective unit. So when the questions are asked going down the home straight in games, if the group hasn't put the work in during the course of the year, they're going to be found wanting. And that's what happened to most teams this year. If they look back on it and they reflect, why do we fall short? It was probably because lads were gone away, lads not fully tuned in, lads peeved off if they weren't seeing game time, became a bit cancerous inside in the setup. It's the usual stuff, Paul, with teams that fall short year in, year out. If Kenneth ever writes his book, I'd say it'd be awards and all. I'd say there's probably more rows in that work household than there was in the sideline with David demanding he comes on, but no better man to kind of to stand his ground.
Just on Mullagh then, for the likes of Kevin Briscoe here, Cathal Dervin, even Davy Lennon's kind of first real significant piece of silverware at senior level for Mullagh. For these players in particular who've been soldiering year on year for the Mullagh senior hurlers.
And Dervin back in the intermediate final in 2003, so that's 20 years ago. So look, these boys, club was number one for them. If the club was ever stuck, they come back in, they help out. I looked on the sideline there today watching it on the laptop, and there was Conor Dervin, tagged as well, and the slips back in again, there to support the group, and there's a unity there within what they're doing. But they played a really good brand of hurling, Paul. It was nice to see. Ballindereen probably suited them in terms of that direct style, getting it and hitting it in. But they did have an inside line that was able to win ball also. But I think the key player for them this year was young Dolphin. He scored in return, obviously helped them out enormously from frees and from play. I'd say he probably added 10, 12 scores extra to them this year. Ronnie had a really good year. For them, Davey really stepped up when they needed most. But like that last 2 minutes of the first game against Hasker, where the goals went in and the flow of the play and the excitement, it was incredible, to see two teams going at it hammer and tongs. And Hasker, look, they look back on it and say, right, we have an opportunity next year. If we keep this going and build on what we did, they'll fancy their chances next year, definitely.
And huge credit has to be given to both sides to produce a game like this, even second time around as well.
Yeah, but I just think Hasker got it really wrong for the first 20 minutes. There was no pattern to what they were doing. And that was probably testament to the way Mullagh attacked the game and their ball usage and what they scored and that they did in the first couple of minutes, especially. Dolphin got a sideline. He got one free miss, but he scored another one. Davey then set the tone really with the 3 points from play. So look, all in all, look, a good Senior B championship for them two teams, especially. But again, look, they're up now Senior A next year. That's a different kettle of fish completely. But look, they have a winter to enjoy it and build on what they did this year. And best of luck to them.
And on that, just Mullagh's lead, you talk about 10-1, they go ahead, then 14-5, like after 37 minutes. They looked in really control then, but Hasker come, they get 1-4 without response, but they are fortunate with the goal. I think it does hit a Mullagh player as that goes in.
He was unlucky now. He was unlucky. He was trying to deal with it. It went in. They get the next three, I think. But the last 2 minutes, Park's chance was a huge chance. It just popped up lovely, doubled it on and off his left. I don't know how it didn't win the net. I'd say if he hit it again, it'd go in definitely 9 times out of 10. But it was just probably hit it too well. He probably hit it too clean, and probably just went outside the post, and that was a let off. And they still had one or two balls. Cathal had a free, I think, that dropped short, that was kind of bobbing around. But Mullagh deserved a bit of luck, Paul, for what they did all year long, like the consistency level of their performances in all the games ensured that when they came down to the home straight, the last, they did enough points in the scores on the board to get them over the line.
Yeah, with that consistency and quality they've showed all year, you still would expect them that they're not just going to come up to senior hurling now and make up the numbers, like that. There's players in the side and there's a squad here that they can compete, but obviously the first thing that's going to be their aim in senior hurling is to survive.
Yeah, look, this year, look back on it, they'll be fairly pleased in maintaining their senior status, and Mullagh will probably look at it the same way again. They need a bit of luck with the group that they're going to have. Like obviously the 4 top teams will be seeded, so they need a small bit of luck regards that. But look, if they're playing games at Ballindereen and Loughrea, it's when they have to. Will they get at the right? Will be open at that stage. It's getting to these bigger pitches against the teams that they have inside forwards are able to move and convert and use the ball a bit better than Haskell did the last day.
Haskell, they'll have regrets. It's about for them coming back now and getting to this stage again. But they unfortunately for them now, their aim has to be to back this up again.
And that's, you're looking at it. If you told us at the start of the year that it was going to be Mullagh, Haskell final in Senior B, we'd say no. But obviously, their management teams and the players in the group decided that we're going to go at it this year, and they did. Which two teams that are going to have a good hard winter of work done and be ready to go next March, April? That's still the question. And it's hard to come back, Paul. The two finals played, through one, lost one. It is difficult to kind of build on that from the disappointment side of it. And you need players then coming through as well. That's why Mullagh will need 2 or 3 players coming through next year for them. Dolphin was huge from this year, but is there 2 or 3 young lads to come into that again that's going to help them out? And the Haskell will be the same boat as well. Is there 2 or 3 players that they can blood again next year that's going to help out the group? And see the top teams, like you have Evan Brady there, from Thomas that's coming on. Caulfield didn't commit this year for whatever reason. But they'd be looking at it to say, right, which 2 or 3 Connor Head came on for them as well, so they're blooding as well. These lads have seen an awful lot of game time in the last 2 or 3 years. Loughgrave have an awful lot of players coming through as well. Clarenbridge have a huge amount of players coming through. They don't understand the commitment of senior hurling. That's the question. So it's all in all, look, when you sum it all up for senior A, senior B teams, there was no surprise in senior A, and senior B was definitely a surprise with the 2 teams that were in the final.
Yeah, obviously there. I think it was Athenry and Mellows we had at the top at the start of that. It didn't work out like that, but I think that shows that senior B has been a success.
As Ronan said there and alluded to, he said, look, there was a chance for the club to get silverware. And it is important for clubs to taste that. And it's only a tier down from senior A. But next year for them, senior A is going to be a different playing field. And the players that they have, I'm not too sure. Ed Briscoe's now, he must be 40, 41. Kyle Derby must be 40, 41, so
Would you be surprised to see them go again?
I'd say, sure, look, they'll be fine. If they get someone that's going to be on the move them around, it's a different story. But yeah, look, they'll probably give it a lash next year. And all credit to them because they deserve an opportunity.
So just on the intermediate final then, Ballindereen 318, Teen Aberdeen 218. Ballindereen were quick to remind me of this over the weekend of where they started out, and they have proved us wrong here. I think they proved a lot of people wrong because Tina were just clear favourites from the outset. But yeah, so with Ballindereen, they started off in 6th place in the power rankings.
Yeah, and I think I eventually realised that we probably got it wrong, and we did tip them to win the semi-final against Ceylon. So they'll have to give us that. Tina are obviously warm favourites, but I watched the game against Ceylon. You know what? They have lads that use the ball well. They use a long puck-out tactic, which they did against Tina, which probably upset Tina. The goalkeeper, Michael Kelly, is it?
Yeah.
He has a long puck out, and obviously it's puck the ball as long as you can, old school, down the far side of the pitch and turn teams over. And it's about field position. And they tackled ferociously hard and turned the Tina defence over up 10 times. But look, you'd have to give huge credit to them. Niall Cohen had a fine outing.
Was his goal just perfect straight away, particularly when you're coming into a clash like that as underdogs?
Yeah, and it just gives the whole group confidence. And he did that. Got a couple of great scores after that. Doc O'Connor came on then. It was an awful mistake for the
Brendan Lynch
for the goal. I don't know why he was out there in the first place. There was no reason for him to go there. And it was a huge point in the game, as was Shane Maloney's penalty missed. Did another goal chance in the first half. They should have converted.
Yeah.
So they butchered 2 goal chances as well. But look, Ballindereen won this game because of their work rate and the ferociousness they brought to the final, on top of the scores that they got. And they were probably, no, not probably, they were a better balanced side for me looking at the game today. You know, obviously, Teen Aberdeen were kicking themselves over the penalty miss and the goal that behind the first half. But all in all, Ballindereen were full value for the win.
Being a thing about Ballindereen, they've improved every game, but they've come into this. Abby Knockmoy got over the line that day, then Rahoon, then Cylon, and they've built on every game.
Yeah, and winning builds confidence. But they have good forwards, like they Evan Morgan there's in the college, Matthew Connor is in the college as well. You know, they're fine hurlers, but like their goalie is a fine goalie now.
Yeah,
he
he launched a great free there. I think it was just before halftime.
Yeah, and like the penalty save was a massive moment in the game. But they'd want to be wary of Torino. Torino are a fine side as well. We would often play Torino at Christmas time in a challenge when it was the old system. With the GAL20s, and they have a lot of lads who play both codes and bring the running ability from Gaelic into hurling. And Toreen bet Mike Cullen, wasn't it, 2 years ago as well, up in Beacon. So
they would have beaten Ballindereen a few years ago as well.
Yeah, as well. Like, but their inside line, Icona's developing into fine inside forwards. Roy Lane is there, and Doc O'Connor. You know, Doc got the goal then. But like, it was a huge turning point in the game, that goal that Doc got at that stage. But look, Ballindereen went, they were the underdogs, and they went for it, and they're now intermediate champions, and hats off to them again.
Even after David O'Connor's goal, Roy Lane's goal was huge after that, and then there's a point after that. I know Tina did come back towards the end, but when Ballindereen pushed that out to 318 to 117, it was just too much work really for Tina to do in the end.
You missed 2 goal opportunities in the final, Paul. You need they're huge moments, because it puts the opposition under pressure. That there was a point in the half time, wasn't there? Second half was kind of tit for tat, and then Ballindereen take over. But I just thought they were under huge pressure under the long puck out, and usually when you're dealing with teams or managing teams, the long puck out, you can have it can upset your balance of your team if your wing forwards, or so your wing backs, are getting pushed up too far up the pitch. But Kelly's puck outs were landing on the 21 now with the breeze, and they were pressing high then. The Tina defence, and the Tina defence weren't able to work the ball out. They were trying to go through the Ballindereen lads, as opposed to working the ball out sideways or out the back door. And they got turned. I was looking at there today. I'd say there was about 3 or 4 puck-outs in a row that went long, that Ballindereen got joy from winning the break or turning the ball over. But like, when you kind of synopsize it and look at the game as a whole, Ballindereen converted their chances, and Tina didn't.
Will that be Tina Aberdeen's biggest regret? Like, they were favourites from the outside to win this. They got to the final, but like, as you said, their missed chances just seemed to be the biggest frustration on today.
The missed chances and the mistakes that were made. You know, the goal that Doc O'Connor got, like, that's a huge mistake that's made. You know, like Cyril Farrell says, the modern goalkeeper, but like there wasn't the time nor the place to come out looking for that ball at that stage. And it was just unfortunate. Look, these things happen. But like, they will have regrets, because they put themselves in a huge position. all year they were being tipped up. Ballindereen were coming from what position to be said in the power rankings, 8th, 9th.
They were sixth, but when you take that the year before, they didn't get out of their group last year.
Yeah.
And they
So
finished third in the group this year, so they're actually kind of benefited from that.
be careful now, Paul. If he
Yeah,
texts me again, they'll be texting you again. So look,
but
yeah,
they did say that like in the build
yeah,
up to it, if it was the old
old
rules,
system.
yeah, they wouldn't have got through like so.
Yeah, but when they get a flow of games and a run of form
Yeah,
and a run of wins, the whole thing just takes off, and the belief system then goes to another level. But like they have again, they have inside forwards who are able to score, and that's critical for any team. If you've Niall Cohen and Riley Lane inside any line, they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt teams. Like Niall is a natural finisher as you're going to get. I think he got 1-2 or 1-3 in the final.
yeah. 1-3. Roy Lane got 1-4. Even their
Yeah,
bench though, David O'Connor a goal and Pork Lafferty 3 points.
yeah. Lafferty, like he got one scored there at one stage. He picked it, and you were kind of going, "Where's he going here?" Next minute, he just turns on his left side over the bar, and he didn't just do it once. He did it 3 times, and you were kind of going, "The team of defense needs to realize here what's going on." But the work rate around even the middle third, like they blitzed Tina there. Now I thought Shane had a fine game. Park Brenny had a good game. Um, but they went after Paul clean. They realised he was a key pillar for them, and Paul wasn't probably able to get the clearances he wanted. They put him under huge pressure, and he was striking ball off the back foot. But look, I know it's a tough thing to say. Um, were they ready this year to go up? Probably not. They have a lot of young fellas coming through, and I know it's a hard thing to say, but maybe another year with Matty and the lads, a year wiser, and if they're in the same final again next year, they probably won't let the things that happened to them this year happen again in terms of their mistakes they made and the chances they didn't convert.
Two players on this Ballindereen team who are going to be busy men for the next while. Kevin Ward's in coaching them and he's coaching the Sarsfields Camogie team as well. Then their fullback, Robbie Lane, obviously won that county title with Ballindereen on Saturday, but he's involved in the St. Thomas's team as well.
Yeah, they'll be going 4 nights a week, and probably Sunday all day, and that's the joys of it. That's what happens when you win. You get to experience something like that. Enjoy it while it lasts, because sometimes you can experience it when you're out of the championship in October, and you've a winter then of licking your wounds and wondering, okay, what's going to happen next year. But yeah, look, like Robbie's been around, for the last couple of years with Clymer Daly also for a few years, with Cappy last year, go Camogie, has a fine gym there in Lochray, knows his stuff, but he's going to have a serious probably block of work to do with the Thomas's lads over the next couple of weeks, because look, whatever about the Galway Championship, you come up against a Ballygunner side, it's going to be at a level above then again in terms of what you're going to need from a tactical, and a physical point of view. Kevin Ward, up and coming coach as well, so like he's going to have his hands full as well, because look, he's going to have to be at every pitch session if he's the head coach in Sarsfields and doing all the work in Ballindereen as well. He'll be busy, but it's a nice busy, Paul. It's easy when you're winning. The pressure comes if you're losing matches. So for the two lads, look, hats off to them, and just wish the best of luck to them over the next couple of months.
Finally on Ballindereen, Tureen obviously played the London champions, that London finals taking place this Saturday. That's if it takes place now, because there's been various appeals with that final, but the winner of that plays Tureen in the semi, and then the winner of that goes on to play Ballindereen in the Connacht final. Then I'd say after coming up short a few years ago with this Ballindereen group, they were even referencing the last day that they want to push on now, and why wouldn't they? And there's an opportunity here for them now, but they will be coming up against a very good Tureen team, as we've mentioned.
We'll get the game out of that league. That's one place.
It's
That's one.
it's already fixture there
Oh,
actually.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't suit go hurling teams that league. It's hard to describe it, Paul, unless you've been up there. Yeah, look, Turin will well used to playing there. They'll probably get a few training sessions this island as well. So they'll be well used to it. I suppose one thing I'd say to the lads is try and get a match up there or try and get a training session up there just to get used to it because it's tight. It has a hill in it. Um, but like Torino well used to playing there. But the one thing that Ballindereen have is pace in their ranks and they're physically well conditioned. But they just probably need to realise as well, like, you know, whatever winning Galway now, it's going to be another step up again. Like Turin, love their hurling. They were very close last year to winning that Ireland semi-final against was the Limerick champions of the Cork.
Mullagh,
Yeah, they were
Mullagh.
they were fairly close to causing a huge upset there. In the final, wasn't it, in Croke Park?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Ireland
think
final, yeah.
it was All Ireland final in Croke Park. So like they have been there and done that. And they will fancy their chances against Ballindereen, as was Ballindereen fancy their chance against Turin. But the big leveler for me is the game we played in that league. That's I've often scratched my head, kind of going, why? You have a fine pitch in Hyde Park, and you have Castlebar. That league for me, no.
Just on the Junior 1 final over the weekend, Ballinasloe bets all till 19 points to 113. Scannon Montpellier couldn't play in the Junior 1 competition because they're a joint club. So Skahana had to go into it and Ballinasloe bet Skahana then. But Ballinasloe will now go forward and represent Galway in the Connacht Championship, while Skahana Montpellier go up to intermediate level.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I got into the final at about 1:30, 1:20 it was just over. I just saw the result. Ballinasloe are coming again. They're doing all the good work, underage especially. So Tilly were probably fairly disappointed, but not winning that now. But look, Ballinasloe, hats off to them. In terms of where they've come from for the last couple of years to where they're now, and then they look forward to obviously they Connacht.
They've a Connacht final.
Lynskey.
It's expected to be they'll play Lynskey in the final.
Yeah.
Lynskey have to play a game, but you'd expect Lynskey to be there, especially after last year too. They got to semi.
Yeah, so like look, hats off to them. It'd be nice to see them winning Connacht especially and putting a push in the All Ireland series.
For sure, yeah. They bet Sawtell there in the Junior 1 final over the weekend, 19 points to 113. But that's all we do have time for on our final edition of the Power Rankings across the senior and intermediate championships.